Listen past the small sounds, past the hum of the refrigerator or the distant mumble of traffic. Listen to the sound of the room itself. It's a deep, settled quiet. Feel the space around you, the air touching your skin. Feel the simple, undeniable weight of the blanket resting on you, a gentle pressure that confirms you are here grounded. In this stillness, one sound will begin to rise, a sound so familiar it is almost always silent, the sound of your own breathing. Notice it. The soft rush of air in and out. A rhythm. It is the first rhythm you ever knew, the steady, reliable engine of your life. It is a tide rising and falling inside you. With every inhale, you draw the world in. With every exhale, you release. This rhythm is your anchor. In a world of noise and hurry, your breath is your most profound connection to the present moment. It is the proof that you are here. It is the soft drumbeat that says, I am, I am, I am. Hold on to that rhythm, feel its steady pace. Now understand that this personal quiet rhythm is part of a much larger, grander movement, one so vast and so smooth that you cannot feel it at all. Even as you lie perfectly still, held by the quiet of the room, you're moving. You're a passenger on a great sphere, and that sphere is turning. The Earth, our planet, is in a constant silent spin. Right now, you are traveling through space at hundreds of miles per hour. We don't feel this incredible velocity because everything, the room, the house, the very air you are breathing is moving with us. We are not flung off into the void because of an invisible tether, a gentle but insistent force we call gravity. It is the planet's embrace. It is the Earth holding you, me, the oceans, and the mountains close to its heart. It is the reason the blanket has weight. It is the reason your feet stay on the floor. This spin is the source of our oldest rhythms. The sunrise and the sunset, the reliable unfolding of day and the deep comfort of night. Your small breath and the planet's great turn are connected. One is the rhythm of your body, the other is the rhythm of your world. This embrace of gravity does more than just hold us to the surface. It holds on to the very air we are breathing. It holds our shield. We live at the bottom of an ocean of air we call the atmosphere. But in the true scale of the cosmos, it is not an ocean at all. It is a thin blanket, impossibly fragile. If the Earth were the size of an apple, our atmosphere would be thinner than its skin. Yet this delicate gaseous layer is everything. It is the only thing separating us from the deep, lethal silence of space. Outside this blanket is an emptiness so cold it is hard to imagine a vacuum that would steal the air from your lungs and the warmth from your body in an instant. But inside this blanket we are safe. This thin film of nitrogen and oxygen catches the sun's energy, holding in just enough warmth to keep the water liquid and life possible. It bends the sunlight, scattering the blue rays to paint our sky. It is our planetary greenhouse, our cosmic comforter, and the medium for every sound we have ever heard. Every breath you take is a gift from this thin, precious shield. Now let your imagination do what your body cannot. Let your mind float up, rising out of the room, drift up through this thin blanket of air, higher than the birds, higher than the highest, wispiest clouds. Keep going, rising until the curves of the continents become clear and the borders we draw on maps vanish. Go higher still until the entire planet is below you, a perfect sphere hanging in the blackness. You see it now, the blue marble. It is a sight of breathtaking, shocking beauty. You see the deep, impossible blue of the oceans, the brilliant white swirls of weather patterns, the patches of green and brown land. It floats in an endless dark void. And from here you can see how truly fragile it is. There are no strings holding it up. There is nothing around it. It is a single beautiful living oasis in an unimaginable emptiness. From this distance you feel its solitude. This is it. This is our only home. Every person you have ever known, every war ever fought, every painting ever created, every laugh and every tear. It all happened right there on that small blue-green sphere drifting alone in the dark. But in this vast loneliness, we are not entirely without a neighbour. Look just beyond the Earth, and you will see it a smaller, paler sphere glowing with a soft, borrowed light, the moon. It is not just a rock in the sky, it is our ancient companion. It has circled our planet for billions of years, a silent witness to the entire story of life. Its surface is a map of ancient impacts, a reminder of the dangers of the cosmos, but its presence is a comfort. Its silver light has guided travellers for millennia, pulling at the hearts of poets and lovers. And it does more than just shine, it reaches out. The moon has its own gravity and it pulls on us. It is a gentle pull too weak to lift you from your bed, but it is strong enough to move our planet's greatest bodies of water. The moon is the engine of our tides. It slowly, rhythmically tugs on the oceans, causing them to rise and fall in a steady planet-sized breath. in and out, another rhythm linked to your own. This pull is a gentle tether, a connection. The Earth and Moon are locked together in an eternal graceful dance. They circle each other, a pair of partners moving as one through the vast, dark ballroom of space. This silent silver neighbour reminds us that even in the stillness of our rooms, we are part of a grand cosmic ballet, held by the Earth, shielded by the air, and accompanied by the Moon. Leaving the familiar shores of Earth and its pale companion the Moon, we turn our gaze inward toward the source of all our light and warmth. We journey toward the very centre of our neighbourhood, the anchor of our cosmic family, the Sun. It is easy to imagine the Sun as a distant, violent explosion, a raging inferno of uncontrollable power. And while its power is unimaginable, fusing millions of tons of hydrogen into helium every second, its primary role for us is not one of violence but one of stability. It is the steady, pulsing heart of our system. This heart beats with a rhythm of light, pumping out a constant stream of energy that travels across the black, empty vacuum of space. This connection is not instant. When you step outside and feel the sun's warmth on your face, you are not feeling the sun as it is right now. You are feeling the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. That is how long it takes for a single particle of light, a photon, to make the 93 million mile journey from its fiery surface to your skin. Every ray of light is a message from the past, a physical link, 8 minutes old, crossing the void to touch us, to feed the plants, and to make life itself possible. As we move out from this central fire, we begin our tour of the planet, starting with the inner court. First is Mercury, the swift messenger. It loops around the sun in a hurried, dizzying dash, taking only 88 Earth days to complete its year. It is a world of extreme contrasts, scorched by the nearby sun, to temperatures that can melt lead, but with shadows so cold they may hold ice. It is a tiny, cratered, airless world, forever baked on one side and frozen on the other, living in the constant, overwhelming glare of its star. Next we drift outwards to Venus. From Earth, it is the brightest jewel in our night sky, a morning star or evening star of breathtaking pearly white beauty. But this beauty is a mask, a veil. Up close, Venus is a vision of hell. It is shrouded in a thick, choking atmosphere of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid, a runaway greenhouse effect that traps heat, making its surface hotter even than Mercury's. Its air pressure is immense enough to crush a submarine. This is the hidden burning beauty of the solar system, a paradise lost, a world forever hidden beneath a deadly beautiful cloak of clouds. Our next stop is Mars, the Red Dream. This is perhaps the most human of all planets besides our own. It is cold, dusty and thin-aired, but it feels familiar. We see vast canyons, dry riverbeds and towering extinct volcanoes. We see polar ice caps that grow and shrink with the seasons. Mars is a rusty, reddish ghost of a world, a planet that tells a story. It whispers of a past where liquid water flowed freely, where a thicker atmosphere might have held warmth, and where just perhaps simple life may have once taken hold. It is not what Mars is now, but what it might have been that captures our imagination and fuels our dreams of one day walking on another world. Leaving the red planet behind, we move toward a vast open space. This is the boundary line of the inner solar system, the asteroid belt. This is not the crowded, chaotic rock field you see in movies. It is a vast, mostly empty ring of space so wide that if you were standing on one asteroid, you would need a telescope to see the next. But this river of stones is important. It is a memory of our solar system, a collection of leftovers from its birth 4.5 billion years ago. These are the bricks and boulders, the debris from the dawn of time that never quite managed to come together to form a planet. They circle the sun in the gap between Mars and Jupiter, a great natural divide separating the small rocky inner worlds from the giants beyond. Shutterstock. We cross this boundary and enter the realm of the giants. The first you meet is impossible to miss. It is Jupiter, the great protector. This planet is a king, a behemoth so large that all other planets in the solar system could fit inside it with room to spare. It is a gas giant, meaning it has no solid surface to stand on, just a swirling, deepening atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. Its sheer size and gravity have shaped the solar system, acting like a cosmic bodyguard that pulls in or deflects dangerous comets and asteroids, shielding the inner planets, including Earth, from impacts. Its face is a churning, chaotic canvas of storms with winds screaming at hundreds of miles per hour. The most famous of these storms, the Great Red Spot, is a hurricane larger than Earth itself that has been raging for centuries. Looking at Jupiter is like looking at a masterpiece of oil painting. with its bands of white, orange, and brown clouds smeared and twisted by its rapid rotation. Further out, we find the system's most elegant jewel. If Jupiter is the king, Saturn is the queen. While it is another massive gas giant, its identity is defined by the one single breathtaking feature: its rings. These rings are not solid. They are not a single spinning plate. From far away, they look solid and delicate, but as we get closer, we see they are a glittering ice river. They are composed of billions upon billions of individual pieces of ice and dust, ranging in size from tiny grains of sand to massive chunks as big as a house. This spectacular shimmering halo circles the planet in a disk that is incredibly wide, stretching almost the distance from the Earth to the Moon, but shockingly thin in most places, only about 30 feet thick. The rings are a masterpiece of balance, held in perfect delicate orbit by the planet's gravity and the gentle pull of its many moons. Finally, we journey to the far deep darkness, the edge of the sun's light. Here we find the last two great worlds, the ice giants Uranus and Neptune. They are a matched pair, similar in size and composition, but vastly different from anything we have seen before. They are not the rocky worlds of the inner system, nor the massive gas giants like Jupiter. They are something else, cold, quiet, and profoundly blue. Their stunning azure and turquoise colours come from methane gas in their atmospheres, which absorbs red light and reflects blue. Here in this silent, frozen twilight, the sun is no longer the grand warm heart of the sky. It has shrunk to a tiny, distant pinprick of light, still the brightest star, but offering little warmth. Uranus is a strange world knocked on its side by some ancient collision hole, so it rolls around the sun instead of spinning. Neptune, its deep blue twin, is a world of the fastest winds in the solar system, a place of supersonic frozen storms. To visit them is to feel the true bone-chilling cold and stillness of deep space, a quiet blue expanse at the very far edge of our family. Our journey has now crossed an invisible yet profound boundary. The last faint whispers of the sun's influence, its magnetic field, and the solar wind have faded behind us. We are beyond the heliopause, the bubble our sun blows into space. We have left the Oort cloud, that final ghostly shell of ancient comets, as a distant memory. The sun, our home star, our giver of life, our brilliant daytime god, is now just a star. It is still the brightest one in the sky, a magnificent steady point of light, but it no longer dominates. It no longer warms us. It is simply over there, the point from which we began. We are now adrift in the true great ocean. This is the space between the stars. Our ship, which felt so fast when it left Earth, now seems to stand perfectly still. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is over 4 light years away. At the speed of our fastest probes, that journey would take over 70,000 years. This is the first true lesson of the galaxy. The scale is not just vast, it is personal. It is a vastness that challenges our concept of time, of a lifetime of a civilization. The distance is so great that it becomes a new kind of silence, a stillness that stretches not just in 3 dimensions, but in the 4th dimension of time. This is the interstellar sea, and the first thing we notice is the emptiness. The vacuum is more perfect than anything humans could ever create on Earth. Here there is, on average, only 1 atom of gas for every cubic centimetre of space. To picture this, imagine a small box the size of a sugar cube. On Earth, that box contains 30 million trillion molecules of air. Here in the interstellar deep, it contains 1. But this emptiness is a lie. It is not empty, it is just dilute. This interstellar medium is the ocean's water. It is 99% gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, the primordial elements forged in the Big Bang. The other 1% is dust. These are not flakes of dust you'd wipe off a shelf. They are microscopic, complex grains of silicates like sand and carbon like soot. And where did this dust come from? It was forged, as we will see, in the hearts of stars that lived and died long before our sun was even a dream. This ocean of thin gas and ancient dust is not uniform. It has currents, it has warm bubbles carved out by old explosions, and it has, most importantly, cold, dark clouds. As we travel for centuries, we see them ahead of us. They are regions where the interstellar gas is no longer just 1 atom per cubic centimetre, but thousands or millions. These are the molecular clouds. They are so dense that they block out the light of the stars behind them, creating inky black patches against the starry backdrop of the Milky Way. They are cold, just a few degrees above absolute zero, the lowest temperature possible. And they are massive, containing enough stuff to build thousands or even millions of stars like our sun. These dark, cold clouds are the wombs of the galaxy. They are the places where new stars are waiting to be born. We drift toward one of these regions. From a distance, it looks like a faint, colourful smudge against the black. We have seen pictures of it from Earth, the Orion Nebula, or the Eagle Nebula, but to approach it is to enter a celestial cathedral. We are not just looking at it, we are in it. This is the star nursery. The user's prompt was right, it is not an explosion. It is a cosmic flower slowly blooming over millions of years. The petals are vast three-dimensional curtains of gas, mostly hydrogen, glowing a brilliant deep red. This light is not from the gas itself. It is a fluorescence, like a poster glowing under a black light. The black light, in this case, is a small cluster of brilliant hot young stars deep within the nebula's centre. These are the newborns, and they are giants burning a dazzling blue-white. Their ultraviolet radiation is so fierce that it excites the surrounding hydrogen, causing it to glow. The other colours, the blues and greens, are the light of other elements like oxygen, sulphur, all singing in their own specific tones of light energised by the new stars. We see famous structures like the Pillars of Creation in the Eagle Nebula. They look like solid mountains, like towering majestic monuments. But they are not solid at all. They are vast columns of denser, cold gas and dust light years long. They are being eroded, sandblasted by the powerful solar winds and radiation from those hot young stars. They are like giant dark fingers pointing toward the new light, their surfaces evaporating away in the stellar glare. But inside these dark, cold pillars, a miracle is happening. Here the Weaver has begun its work. The Weaver is gravity. Gravity is a very weak, very patient force. In this cold, dark clumped gas, it begins to gently pull. It isn't a dramatic collapse. It is a slow, relentless gathering. Over 1 million years, gravity coaxes molecules of hydrogen and tiny grains of dust to come here. A slightly denser than average patch begins to pull in its neighbours. As it gathers more stuff, though, its own gravity gets stronger. As it gets stronger, it pulls in more stuff. It is a process that feeds itself. This clump of gas and dust begins to shrink, and as it shrinks, it begins to spin. Just like an ice skater pulling in their arms to spin faster, the law of physics, the conservation of angular momentum, forces this collapsing cloud to rotate. It flattens into a vast, spinning disk of gas and dust. This is the loom upon which new worlds will be woven. At the very centre of this spinning disk, the material is collapsing most intensely. The pressure builds. The temperature, which was once near absolute zero, begins to climb. It rises to thousands of degrees, then millions of degrees. The clump is now a proto-star, a star in progress, glowing a dull red but still hidden deep within its dusty cocoon. It continues to accrete or feed on the disk of material spiralling into it. The pressure and temperature in its core climb higher and higher till they reach a magic number about 10 million degrees Celsius. At that moment, a new fire is lit. Nuclear fusion begins. The star for that is what it now is switches on. It begins to breathe. In its core, it starts to fuse hydrogen atoms into helium atoms. This process releases a perfect amount of energy, the energy of light and heat. This new outward pushing energy finally balances the inward pull of gravity. The collapse stops. A star is born. It is not a violent birth, it is an ignition, a light switching on in the cosmic darkness. The new star's first act is to blow away its cocoon. Its new solar wind and powerful radiation blast away the remaining gas and dust, revealing the newly formed star shining brilliantly. And surrounding it in the spinning disk, the leftover dust and gas are already being woven by gravity into another set of creation's planets. The cosmic flower has bloomed and it has already set its seeds. We now turn our attention to one of essential adults of the galaxy. Not one of the massive, short-lived blue giants, but a stable average yellow star much like our own sun. Its birth was just as we witnessed, but that was billions of years ago. Now it hangs in space, a perfect sphere of glowing plasma, warming a family of planets that orbit it. This is the main sequence, the long, stable adulthood of a star's life. For billions of years, this star breathes. This breath is the story of its life. It is a story of a perfect, exquisite balance. There are two immense forces at war inside this star. The first is gravity. The star's own unimaginable mass, thousands of times the mass of all its planets combined, is constantly trying to crush it. Gravity pulls every single atom inward, trying to collapse the entire star into a single tiny point. The second force is the fire of its core. This is the nuclear fusion that began at its birth. In the core, where the pressure is over 200 billion times that of Earth's atmosphere, and the temperature is 15 million degrees, the star is inhaling hydrogen. It is taking 4 hydrogen atoms and in a multi-step process smashing them together to create one helium atom. Here is the magic one: helium atom is about 0.7% lighter than the 4 hydrogen atoms that made it. This missing mass is not lost. It is converted perfectly into pure energy, exactly as Albert Einstein's famous equation energy equals mass times the speed of light squared described. This energy in the form of light, gamma rays and heat pushes outward. So the star's life is this constant stable breath. Gravity pulls in, fusion pushes out. Gravity pulls in, fusion pushes out. For a star like our Sun, this main sequence breath lasts for about 10 billion years. It is an almost impossibly long time, a period of stability that is the single most important ingredient for the development of life on its planets. The light that warms the faces of its inhabitants, the energy that powers its weather, the glow that defines day, it is all the product of this missing 0.7% a steady nuclear exhale that has been constant for eons. It is a reliable cosmic fireplace, and its planets have gathered around it for warmth, allowing the slow, patient story of evolution to unfold. But no fire burns forever. The star's breath relies on a fuel, the hydrogen in its core, and after 10 billion years the fuel begins to run out. The star's adulthood comes to an end and its old age begins. What happens next depends entirely on how big the star is. The peaceful rest, the fate of a sun-like star. For a star like our Sun, the end is a gentle, magnificent unfolding. When the hydrogen in the core is gone, the breathing stops. The outward push from fusion ceases, and gravity, which has been waiting patiently for 10 billion years, wins. The core begins to collapse. This collapse reheats the core, making it even hotter than before. It gets so hot that it ignites the shell of hydrogen around the core. This new frantic burning is much more intense. It's like a furnace kicking into overdrive. This new powerful blast of energy pushes the star's outer layers outward. And outward, the star begins to swell. It expands 100 and then 200 times its original size, transforming into a red giant. It is so large it swallows its inner planets. Its surface, now spread so thin and so far from the core, cools to a dull red. This is the star's old age. Inside, the core continues to collapse and heat up until it finally becomes hot enough 100 million degrees to ignite its own ash. It begins as a new breath this time, inhaling helium and exhaling carbon and oxygen. This gives the star a new lease on life for a few million years, but it is not massive enough to burn carbon. Carbon is its final ash. When the helium runs out, it's over. The star's heart gives out for good. The dying star exhales one last gentle puff. It sheds its outer layers, which drift away into space as a beautiful, ghostly, glowing cloud. We call this a planetary nebula. Shutterstock. It is not a planet, it is the star's beautiful funeral shroud, briefly illuminated by the core it leaves behind. And what is left behind the core itself? A tiny, super dense, Earth-sized ball of carbon ash. This is a white dwarf. It is no longer breathing or producing new heat. It is just an ember, the corpse of a star blazing white hot from its leftover temperature. It will spend the rest of eternity, trillions of years, slowly cooling down, fading to black. It is a peaceful rest, the great sacrifice, the fate of a massive star. But what about those big blue-white stars we saw in the nursery, the ones more than 8 or 10 times bigger than our Sun? For them, there is no peaceful rest. They live fast and die young, burning through their fuel, in only a few million years. Their gravity is so immense that they don't just breathe hydrogen and helium. When the helium is gone, their core crushes and heats up enough to burn carbon. When the carbon is gone, they burn neon, then oxygen, then silicon. They are like a giant cosmic onion with a shell of hydrogen on the outside, then helium, then carbon, and so on, all breathing at once. In a frantic race against their own gravity, they forge heavier and heavier elements until in the last few days of their life they finally create ions. And there the story stops. Iron is the ultimate ash. You cannot get energy from fusing iron, it costs energy. The star has been running on a cosmic credit card, and the bill has just come due. In the star's core, the fire goes out, the outward push of fusion vanishes. In less than 1 second, gravity instant absolute and catastrophic wins. The star's core collapses on itself. It implodes at over 1/4 the speed of light. The core smashes down into an object so dense that all its atoms are crushed, a neutron star. The rest of the star, all its outer layers, thousands of times the mass of Earth, comes crashing down on top of this new, unthinkably hard surface, and it bounces. This rebound, combined with a flood of particles from the new neutron star, triggers the most violent event in the cosmos, a supernova. The star explodes. In a single moment, it shines with the light of 100 billion stars, brighter than its entire home galaxy. But this is not destruction, this is creation. In the unimaginable heat and pressure of that final sacrificial explosion, all the other elements are forged. The elements that the star could not make in its life. The elements heavier than iron. The gold in our jewellery, the silver in our technology. The lead, the tin, the uranium. And most importantly for us, the calcium in our bones and the iron in our blood. These elements were not created in the Big Bang. They were not created by our sun. They were forged inside a massive star and then seeded into the universe by its great sacrifice. This is the stardust. This explosion scatters these new heavy elements across the interstellar sea. This dust enriches the primordial gas clouds. The next generation of stars and planets, a generation that includes our own solar system, will form from this recycled, enriched material. The iron that carries oxygen through our veins was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago and hurled across light years of space. We are in the most literal and profound sense the children of the stars. We are stardust whirl, given life. We are the universe's way of looking back at itself, and our journey into this star ocean is in truth a journey home. Let us drift further now, past the last whispers of our sun's family. We are moving beyond the Kuiper Belt, that distant ring of icy worlds. We float past objects that have slumbered in the dark for billions of years, far from the warmth of the home we know. And now we journey even further into the truly deep ocean. We are crossing the boundary of the Oort cloud, a vast invisible sphere of trillions of frozen comets loosely held by the sun's gravity, marking the final outermost edge of our solar system. It is a journey that takes thousands of years, even at incredible speeds. But here in our minds we can cross it in a single peaceful breath. Feel the connection to our sun, our star stretch, and thin. It is still there, a beacon of home, but as we drift it begins to change. It is no longer the great warming disk in the sky. It shrinks, becoming a star, just a star. Bright, yes, perhaps brighter than any other from this vantage point, but it is now one star among a glittering, overwhelming sea of others. Look around. This is the true meaning of countless. The sky is not black with points of light, it is a solid field of diamonds, a tapestry of brilliance in every direction. The feeling of scale, of true immensity washes over you. All the striving, all the history, all the life on our tiny blue world happened around one single average star in a vast crowded ocean. There is no sense of up or down, left or right. There is only out, and the out is endless. We have left our cradle. We are now sailing in the sea between the stars. This is interstellar space. At first, it feels like the ultimate emptiness. The silence is perfect. The cold is profound, just a few degrees above the absolute zero where all motion stops. The nearest star may be light years away, a journey of tens of thousands of years for our fastest probes. You could drift here for a lifetime and see nothing. It is the void. But it is not truly empty. The nothing is full. This great dark ocean is not sterile, it is a reservoir. As our eyes adjust to the deep dark, we begin to perceive it. There are stray atoms of hydrogen, the oldest element coasting on silent winds. There are tiny microscopic grains of dust like soot, the ancient frozen remnants of stars that lived and died long ago. This space is filled with invisible fields, currents of magnetism that flow between the stars like currents in an ocean. And here in the vast, quiet stretches of darkness there are clouds. Not clouds of water like in our sky, but clouds of gas and dust so enormous that our entire solar system would be a tiny speck lost within one. These are the primordial clouds, the raw material of creation drifting unseen. They are cold, dark and motionless, patiently waiting. They are the places where new stars are waiting to be born. Let us drift towards one. From far away it looks like a dark patch in the sky, a hole in the field of stars. But as we get closer we see it is not a hole at all. It is a thing, a colossal shadowy form, a nebula. We are approaching a stellar nursery. Let your mind drift into this cloud, perhaps a place like the Great Nebula in Orion, or the Eagle Nebula Ejecta, home to the famous pillars of creation. But we will not see it as a violent, chaotic place. From this perspective, in this calm state, we see it for what it is, a cosmic flower slowly blossoming over millions of years. The cloud is vast, stretching for light years. It is a region of shimmering, translucent colour. Mostly it is a deep ethereal red, the colour of hydrogen gas being gently excited by the heat of newborn stars hidden deep inside. There are blues too, where light is scattering off fine dust, and regions of profound velvety blackness where the dust is so thick that it hides all the light from behind it. Imagine floating within these clouds of gas. They are not solid, they are thinner than the best vacuum we can create on Earth, but they are so vast that their combined presence is overwhelming. We float past colossal structures of dust that look like mountains, towers and valleys, sculpted not by water or wind in the way we know, but by the gentle pressure of starlight and the subtle persistent pull of gravity. This is where the magic happens, gravity. It is the quiet artist here. It is not a sudden violent force, it is the gentle, patient weaving. Everywhere in this cloud, gravity is pulling. Atom pulls on atom, dust grain pulls on dust grain. Over millions of years, the thinnest parts of the cloud begin to get just a little bit thinner, and the densest parts begin to get just a little bit denser. Imagine a single tiny speck of dust, then another, and another. They are drawn together by this invisible thread. They form a small clump. This clump now has more gravity, so it pulls in more gas and dust. It grows slowly, like a snowflake forming. Over eons, it becomes a larger and larger clump. All around it in the same cloud, thousands of other clumps are forming in the same way. These are the eggs, the seeds of new stars. As a clump grows, as it pulls in more and more material, the pressure at its core begins to build. The clump, this protostar, begins to get warm. It is not shining yet, not with visible light, but in the infrared spectrum it begins to glow, a pocket of warmth hidden deep within the cold, dusty petals of the nebula. It is a new world, a new sun being knit together in the dark. Let's follow the story of just one of these new stars. The core of this protostar continues to gather mass. It spins, pulling the surrounding gas and dust into a flat, swirling disk, a disk that will one day perhaps form its own planets. But at the center, the pressure is becoming immense. The core gets hotter and hotter, 1,000,000 degrees, then 10 million degrees, and then a moment of ignition. The pressure and heat becomes so intense that the very atoms of hydrogen at the core are crushed together. They fuse, they become helium, and in that tiny, tiny transformation a flash of pure energy is released. Nuclear fusion begins. A star is born. A new light shines in the universe. It is a birth, a first breath. The star's new energy, its new wind, pushes outward, blowing away the surrounding cocoon of gas and dust that hid it for so long. The new star reveals itself to the cosmos, a shining jewel emerging from its dusty cradle, joining the countless other lights in the galaxy. And now, its life begins. For a star like our sun, this is not a life of drama. It is a life of stability, of patience, of constancy. It settles into its long, quiet maturity. For billions upon billions of years, this star will breathe. It breathes out light. It breathes out heat. It finds a perfect balance between the inward crush of its own gravity and the outward push of the nuclear fire in its heart. It is a reliable presence, a source of energy, day after day, year after year, million after million. It just shines. It is this steady breathing of light that makes life possible. On a planet lucky enough to be orbiting at just the right distance, this steady, predictable energy, this cosmic daylight can power oceans, power weather, and power the slow, steady climb of life. Our own sun is in the middle of this long, peaceful phase. It has been breathing steadily for nearly 5 billion years, and it will continue to breathe steadily for about 5 billion more. It is our anchor, our hearth, a quiet, dependable engine of life in the vast, dark ocean. But nothing, not even a star, lasts forever. Every life, even one that spans 10 billion years, must come to an end. And in the universe, death is never an end. It is always a transformation. It is always a new beginning. Let us first imagine the end of a star like our sun. After its billions of years of steady shining, its fuel, its hydrogen, begins to run low. Its core will change, it will swell, expanding outwards into a red giant, its outer layers puffing away, reaching out to the very planets it nurtured for so long. But this is not a violent end, it is a great slow sigh. The star in its old age gently puffs its outer layers of gas away into space. This gas, enriched with new elements created in the star's heart, forms one of the most beautiful objects in the cosmos, a planetary nebula. It is a misnomer. It has nothing to do with planets. It is the star's final beautiful artwork, a glowing intricate ring of cosmic smoke, a butterfly of gas, expanding peacefully into the void. And at the center, the star's journey is over. All that remains is the core, a white dwarf. It is the size of a planet like Earth, but it contains the mass of a sun. It is incredibly dense. A single spoonful would weigh tons. It no longer burns fuel. It is a cosmic ember, a glowing diamond, hot and white, that will now spend the rest of eternity, trillions of years, just cooling, slowly, peacefully fading into the dark. It is a quiet, dignified rest. That is one path, but the universe has another, a more dramatic one. What about the giant stars, the stars that are born massive, 50 or 100 times the mass of our sun? They do not live quiet lives. They live fast and they die young. They burn through their fuel in a mere few million years, living a brilliant, furious life. And their death is not a gentle sigh, it is a supernova. But let us not think of this as a destruction. Think of it as a sacrifice, a great, final, generous act. In its final moments, the massive star's core can no longer support its own weight. It collapses catastrophically, and then it rebounds in the single most powerful explosion the universe knows, a supernova. For a few weeks, this single exploding star can outshine its entire home galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars. This explosion is the great cosmic forge. The energy is so intense, so unbelievable, that it does something the star could never do in its lifetime. It forges the heavy elements. You see, the universe was born with only hydrogen and helium. Everything else, the carbon in your cells, the nitrogen in the air you breathe, the oxygen that fills your lungs, the silicon in the rocks beneath your feet, all of it was made inside stars. And the heaviest elements, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood that carries that oxygen, the gold and silver, these elements are made only in the heart of a supernova explosion. They are created in that final fiery second of a star's sacrifice. The supernova explosion then does its final greatest job. It scatters these new life-giving elements across the galaxy. It seeds the interstellar clouds, those dark, patient nurseries, with the ingredients for new worlds. The calcium, the iron, the carbon. It all mixes with the primordial hydrogen ready for the next cycle, ready to be gathered up by gravity, woven into a new protostar, part of a new swirling disk that forms new planets. And on one of those new planets, billions of years later, those very same atoms, the iron forged in a supernova, the carbon cooked in a red giant, will be drawn up into new complex patterns. They will become oceans and mountains, and eventually they will become life. They will become you. When you look at your hand, you are looking at atoms that were created in the heart of a star that lived and died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, it is all stardust. We are not just living in the universe, we are the universe. We are the way the cosmos has found to know itself. We are quite literally stardust awakened. And as you drift, as you float, just feel that connection. You are part of this grand cosmic story. You are made of the same stuff as the stars. You are a child of the cosmos, resting, peaceful, at home in the starry ocean. Let the noise of the world grow quiet. Let the edges of the room begin to soften and fade. There is nothing to do now, nothing to solve. There is only this moment and the slow, steady rhythm of your own breathing. Feel the gentle rise and fall and anchor in the present moment. And as you drift, let your mind become light like a single seed on the wind, ready to travel. We are going on a journey not with speed, but with stillness. We are going to float outwards beyond the blue sky, beyond the pull of our familiar world to see the grand and silent city of light we call home. Our first view is from just outside. From here we can see the whole shape of it, a vast shimmering disk of light spinning slowly in the endless quiet dark. This is our galaxy. The Milky Way. It is an impossible structure, a celestial island holding more stars than we could ever count. If you were to try counting one star every second, it would take you more than 6,000 years. 200 billion stars, perhaps as many as 400 billion. Each one a sun, a point of light, a potential furnace for worlds we cannot see. This city of stars is flattened like a great wheel, with a bright glowing centre, where the stars are crowded together, dense and brilliant like a swarm of golden bees. From this bright heart, great arms of light and dust spiral outwards. These are the neighbourhoods of our city. They are rivers of stars flowing through the emptiness. We live in one of these arms, a smaller, quieter street called the Orion Arm. We are not in the bustling downtown, not in the bright, chaotic centre. We are out here in the suburbs, about 2/3 of the way from the middle. Our sun, our familiar star, is just one of those 200 billion. a single humble point of light lost in the crowd, and our Earth is a tiny speck of dust circling that humble star. From this distance we are invisible. All of our history, all of our worries, all of our triumphs, they all take place on a world so small it cannot even be seen against the backdrop of this galactic fire. There is a profound peace in this. It doesn't make us small, it makes us part of something impossibly large. It connects us to the whole. Feel that connection. Now the sense of belonging to this vast, swirling structure of light. We are all of us made from the dust of stars that lived and died in this galaxy. We are children of the Milky Way. The entire structure is in motion. It is not a static picture. It is a living, breathing system. The whole galaxy is spinning, but not like a solid wheel. The stars in the outer arms, like our sun, move more slowly. It takes our sun over 200 million years to make just one full circle around the galactic center. The last time our solar system was in this exact spot, dinosaurs were just beginning to walk the Earth. We are travelers on a cosmic carousel moving at hundreds of kilometers every second, yet feeling perfectly still. Look at the light, the beautiful Milky Band that gives our galaxy its name. That is the light of billions of stars so far away that their individual sparks merge into a single hazy glow. It is the combined light of our neighbors. And woven through the light are dark lanes, clouds of cosmic dust, the raw material for new stars and new worlds blocking the light from behind. It is a place of birth and death, a cycle playing out over eons. It is our home in the grandest sense of the word, and as we float here looking back, we can feel its immense silent spinning presence, a river of light in the ocean of night. Now let's drift inwards. Let's leave our quiet suburban arm and begin a long, slow journey toward the bright, glowing heart of our city. As we move closer, the stars become more numerous. They are no longer single points, but a dense, overwhelming fog of gold and white light. The space between them shrinks. We are moving toward the galactic core, a place of ancient stars and incredible power. The light is brilliant, almost blinding, a dense cluster of starlight packed into a space just a few light years across. We are traveling to the very center, the single point around which everything we have seen, all 200 billion stars, are quietly spinning. We are looking for the mayor of this city, the silent anchor that holds this entire structure together. We pass stars moving at incredible speeds, whipped around by a gravitational force we cannot see. We are heading for a place known as Sagittarius A star, but as we arrive we see nothing. Where there should be the brightest star of all, there is only a patch of perfect calm darkness. This is the heart. It is not a blazing furnace, it is a shadow. This is the supermassive black hole at the center of our Milky Way. Now let your mind be at ease. The words black hole often bring images of cases of a hungry monster devouring everything in its path. But that is not what we see here. The center of our galaxy is not a place of violence. It is a place of stillness. Sagittarius A star is not a monster. It is a mystery. It is the silent heart. This object, this thing, this is impossibly heavy. It has the mass of 4 million suns all compressed into a space so small it would fit inside the orbit of Mercury. Its gravity is so powerful that it has created a boundary, a point of no return from which not even light can escape. And so it is invisible, a perfect black sphere against the blaze of the surrounding stars. But it is not a vacuum cleaner. It is not sucking the galaxy in. From a distance, its gravity is just like anything else of its mass. It is more accurately an anchor. It is the gravitational foundation upon which our galaxy is built. It is the calm, still point in the center of the spinning wheel. All 200 billion stars, including our own sun, are in a slow, stable orbit around this single dark point. We are dancing with it, not being pulled in by it. We can see its influence even if we can't see it. We see stars orbiting it at incredible speeds like comets, whipping around the sun, their paths telling us exactly how heavy that central shadow must be. We see flares of energy as small clouds of gas or an unlucky star venture too close and are pulled apart by its tidal forces, a final burst of light before they cross the line and are lost from our universe forever. But mostly it is quiet. It sits in the center of our galactic home, a place of immense density and profound mystery. It is a point of absolute stillness, a quiet engine of gravity, a silent heart holding us all in its steady, predictable cosmic embrace. It is a reminder that even in the brightest places, the greatest mysteries often lie in the dark. It is the quiet center, the unmoving point around which our entire world turns. and feeling its presence, its silent anchoring power, we can let ourselves feel anchored too, still, calm, and at peace. Let's gently pull back again, leaving the bright, dense core behind. We drift back out past the spiral arms, past the suburbs where our own sun lives, until the entire vast disk of the Milky Way is once again a swirling pinwheel in the darkness. We float in the space between the galaxies now, an emptiness so profound it is hard to imagine. The blackness here is almost absolute. The silence is complete. We drift for a long, long time. And then in the far distance another light appears. At first it is just a faint fuzzy patch, a smudge of an elliptical glow, but as we drift closer it grows, taking up more and more of our vision. It looks familiar. It is another spiral galaxy, another vast spinning island of light. It is beautiful, tilted at an angle, showing us its full majestic shape. This is the Andromeda Galaxy. It is our nearest large neighbour, our sister galaxy. In many ways she is our twin. Andromeda is a little larger than the Milky Way, perhaps holding as many as 1 trillion stars. 1 trillion! An even bigger city of light than our own. We look at it and it feels like looking in a mirror. It has spiral arms, lanes of dust, and a bright glowing centre. We know that deep inside that centre there is also a supermassive black hole, an anchor for its own vast family of stars. Perhaps on a tiny speck of dust orbiting one of those trillion stars, someone is looking back at us, seeing our own Milky Way as a faint fuzzy patch in their sky. But Andromeda is not just a neighbour, it is our future. Right now there is an immense distance between us. The light from that galaxy, the light you are seeing, had to travel for 2.5 million years to reach you. We are seeing Andromeda as it was 2.5 million years ago, when our own human ancestors were just beginning to walk upright. But even across this vast unimaginable gulf, there is a connection, the single fundamental force that shapes the cosmos, gravity. The Milky Way and Andromeda are the 2 largest members of our local family of galaxies, and we are bound to each other. We are in a slow, graceful, cosmic dance. Right now, if we could measure it, we would find that Andromeda is moving towards us, or perhaps we are moving towards it. Either way, the gap is closing. Very, very slowly, at a speed of over 100 kilometers every second, the 2 largest structures in our neighborhood are being pulled together by their mutual gravity. There is no need for alarm. This is a dance that plays out on a stage of billions of years. This collision is not like a car crash. It is a slow, gradual merger. In about 4 billion years, our 2 beautiful spiral galaxies will begin to touch. They will pass through each other like 2 ghosts. The stars themselves are so far apart that it is unlikely any will actually collide. But gravity will twist and pull. The beautiful spiral arms will be torn apart, flung out into long, graceful streamers of stars. The 2 galaxies will dance around each other, pulling apart and coming back together again and again in a chaotic, beautiful gravitational embrace. Over hundreds of millions of years they will settle. The 2 supermassive black holes at their centres will eventually find each other, spiral together and merge into one. The stars from both galaxies will mingle, finding new orbits until all the chaos subsides, and in the end, perhaps 6 billion years from now, there will be one single enormous elliptical galaxy where once there were 2 spirals. A new giant city of stars born from the union of 2 old ones. Our sun will still be here, though it will be an old red star by then. It will find itself in a new home in a new larger galaxy, whose night sky will be blazing with 1 trillion new neighbours. This is the long, slow, patient story of the cosmos. It is a story not of endings, but of transformations, of slow dances and grand gravitational mergers. And as we float here between these 2 sister galaxies, we are suspended in the quiet, patient timeline of the universe itself. Now let's zoom out. We have seen our own star, we have seen our home galaxy, the Milky Way. We have visited our neighbour Andromeda. Now we pull back even further until the Milky Way and Andromeda are just 2 bright spots of light in the darkness. But we see they are not alone. All around them are other smaller galaxies, dozens of them. They are like small dwarf galaxies, some with just a few million stars orbiting the larger ones like moths around a flame. This whole collection, our Milky Way, Andromeda, and all these smaller companions, this is our local group. It is our extended family, our small celestial village. We are all bound together by gravity, moving as a single unit through the vast emptiness of space. But we do not stop there. We continue to pull back. our local group shrinks until it is just a tiny speck. And as we look out, we see other specks, other groups of galaxies. And then we see even larger structures, clusters of galaxies containing hundreds or even thousands of galaxies, all bound together in a massive swarm of starlight and gravity. Our local group is on the very edge of one of these, the Virgo cluster. We are seeing that galaxies are not scattered randomly like sand thrown on a floor. They have an architecture, they have a structure, they gather together. Like people, they form villages, and the villages form towns, and the towns form massive, sprawling cities. Let's pull back one last time. As far as our mind's eye can possibly go, we are now looking at the universe on the largest possible scale, and what we see is breathtaking. It is not a collection of cities, it is a network, a web. The entire universe is woven into a vast, intricate, luminous structure. It is called the cosmic web. We see long glowing filaments of light stretching for hundreds of millions of light years, crossing the universe like shimmering threads in a three-dimensional tapestry. These filaments are made of galaxies and the invisible dark matter that holds them together. And where these filaments cross, where they meet, we see the bright knots of the great clusters, the superclusters, the brightest intersections in this cosmic network. And between these filaments of light, there are vast, dark, empty spaces. These are the voids. They are almost completely empty of matter, vast bubbles of near-perfect nothingness. The universe on this grandest scale is like a delicate luminous foam. We are looking at the largest structure in existence, a grand interconnected network of light woven against an enormous dark canvas. Every point of light in this web is an entire galaxy holding billions of stars. And our galaxy, the Milky Way, is just one tiny, insignificant point of light in one of these filaments. There is a profound order here. A beautiful, silent and incomprehensibly large pattern. It is the framework of the cosmos. It reminds us that nothing is truly alone. Everything is connected. Our star is connected to our galaxy is connected to our local group group is connected to our supercluster, and our supercluster is just one bright thread in the endless shimmering cosmic web. And as you float in this quiet space, you can feel that connection. You are part of this web. You are part of this grand, silent, beautiful structure. You are not a separate, isolated being. You are a part of the universe looking back at itself. And in this vast, connected stillness, you can let go. You can drift. You can rest. Let us drift now. Let us float beyond the edge of our galaxy, beyond the familiar lights, and journey back. Not just in space, but in time. Back before the stars were born, before the galaxies were formed. Let us drift to the very beginning, the first moment, the dawn of everything. We often call this moment the Big Bang, but it is helpful to think of it in a different way. It was not an explosion, not a crash in an empty dark room. It was the room itself coming into being. Imagine an unfolding, a blossoming. Try to picture a single point, a point of pure potential, smaller than a single atom, smaller than the smallest thing you can imagine. Yet this single silent point contained everything, all the energy, all the potential for all the stars, all the space and all the time that would ever exist. And then it began, not with a sound, but with an expansion, a sudden grand opening. Space itself began to stretch, time itself began to flow forward. This was the birth of our universe. In this first brilliant fraction of a second, the universe was incredibly hot, incredibly dense, a perfect glowing sea of pure energy. The rules of physics, the laws that would one day govern planets and create stars, were set. And this unfolding has never stopped. From that first moment, the universe has been expanding. The space between things is growing. The story of the cosmos, your story, began in this silent, powerful, perfect unfolding. For a long time, this new universe was a very different place. For about 380,000 years, it was still too hot and too dense for light to travel freely. It was like a thick, glowing, opaque fog, a cosmic soup of particles and energy. But the universe kept expanding, and as it expanded, it cooled. Slowly, gradually, it cooled enough for atoms to form. The fog cleared. The universe for the very first time became transparent, and the light that was trapped inside that fog was finally set free. That first light has been traveling ever since. It has been journeying across the cosmos for 13.8 billion years, and it is still here. It is all around us, right now, passing through this room, passing through you. We call it the cosmic microwave background. It is the oldest light we can ever see, the most ancient echo of that first grand unfolding. It is no longer a bright, hot glow. It has stretched with the universe, cooled with the universe, until now it is just a faint, gentle whisper. A uniform glow in every direction just a few degrees above absolute zero. If your eyes could see in the microwave spectrum, the entire sky would be filled with this soft, ancient light. It is the baby picture of our universe. It is the quiet, constant hum left over from the dawn of time, a gentle reminder bathing us all in the afterglow of creation. As we gaze out into this vast, beautiful cosmos at the spinning galaxies and the clusters of light, we are faced with a profound mystery, a gentle puzzle. We have learned that everything we can see, all the stars, all the planets, all the shining nebulae, all the gas and dust, everything you have ever seen or touched, all of it makes up only 5% of the universe. 5%. The rest, 95%, is hidden. It is invisible. We know it is there, but we cannot see it. This unseen universe is made of two great unknowns. The first is dark matter. We see galaxies like our own Milky Way spinning. They spin so fast that by all our calculations they should fly apart. The gravity of the stars we can see is not enough to hold them together. Something else must be there. Something invisible, something heavy providing the extra gravity. We call this the invisible scaffolding of the cosmos. It is dark matter. It does not shine. It does not reflect light. It does not interact with us. But it is there. It is the unseen framework, the gravitational anchor that allows galaxies to form and hold together. It is the silent, invisible skeleton upon which our visible universe is built. And then there is the other, even greater mystery, dark energy. We thought that after the Big Bang, the expansion of the universe might be slowing down, pulled back by the gravity of all this matter, both seen and unseen. But when we looked, we found the exact opposite. The universe is not slowing down. Its expansion is speeding up. Something is pushing everything apart. A gentle, subtle, constant force present in the empty vacuum of space itself. A gentle push that is winning the battle against gravity. We call this dark energy. We do not know what it is, but it is the dominant force in the cosmos. It is this energy, this soft, relentless pressure that is slowly, surely pushing the galaxies further and further away from each other into the darkness. These two great unknowns, dark matter and dark energy, are a quiet reminder. A reminder that the universe is far stranger, far deeper, and far more mysterious than we can yet imagine. Most of reality is hidden from our view. So if the universe is expanding and speeding up, where does this journey end? What is the final fate of everything? The most likely end, based on what we see, is not a great fire, not a dramatic collapse. It is a fade, a slow, serene, gradual cooling. We call it the big freeze. As that gentle push of dark energy continues, the galaxies will be pushed further and further apart. Imagine trillions of years from now looking up at the night sky. The familiar constellations will be long gone. Our own Milky Way will have merged with Andromeda. But all the other galaxies, all those other islands of light, will have been pushed so far away that their light can no longer reach us. The universe will appear empty. The night sky will be dark, blank, almost featureless. Inside our own massive, merged, lonely galaxy, the stars will begin to die. The great stellar furnaces, the factories of light and life, will use up their fuel. One by one they will flicker and fade. The great clouds of gas will run out. No new stars will be born. The universe will grow darker and colder. The last stars, the small dim red dwarfs, will burn for trillions and trillions of years. They will be the last embers in a dying fire. But eventually even they will go out. The universe will be left with the remnants, the cold cinders, black holes, neutron stars, dead cold dwarfs, and over stretches of time so vast they make the current age of the universe seem like a single second. Even these will decay. The black holes themselves will slowly evaporate, returning their energy to the void in a final faint whisper. And then there will be stillness. The universe will settle into a long, peaceful, eternal night. A state of near-perfect cold, near-perfect quiet, just fractions of a degree above absolute zero. It will be a state of final rest, an endless, silent, dark expanse. Not a tragedy, not a catastrophe, but a natural conclusion. The end of change, the end of energy. A final, slow, calm exhale. And here, let us rest here. Here at the very end of time, in this ultimate cold, quiet, eternal stillness, let us pause, and from this distant final shore, let us turn around. Let us begin the journey back. Let your mind zoom back. Pull your awareness back from that distant, cold future. Pull back past the fading embers of the last stars. Back through the trillions of years, back to a time when the sky was full of light. We pull back from the dark, expanding ocean of space. Past the distant galaxies fleeing from each other, back towards our own familiar galactic neighborhood, back towards the beautiful swirling arms of our home, the Milky Way. We drift inwards, past the bright chaotic center, through the quiet starry fields, past sleeping nebulae, past stars of all colors, all ages, we are coming home. We see a familiar gentle yellow star, our sun. We drift past the great giants Jupiter, Saturn. We drift past the red dust of Mars, and we see it, a swirling jewel of blue and white and green, our Earth. We drift down through the high, thin, protective layers of the atmosphere, down through the soft white clouds, down over the dark, quiet continents, over the peaceful, dreaming oceans, down to the city or town where you live, down into the safety and the stillness of your room. We zoom back into this moment, this peace, and finally we zoom back to you. You are here, lying in this bed, breathing. The universe is not just out there, it is in here. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a star that exploded billions of years ago. The calcium in your bones, the oxygen you are breathing, all of it was created in those cosmic furnaces. You are literally made of stardust. That great grand unfolding, the Big Bang set in motion the precise story that led to this moment. To you. The invisible scaffold of dark matter held our galaxy together so that your sun and your planet could form. The vastness, the big questions, the silence of space, all of it is part of your story. And your breath, this simple, easy breath you are feeling right now, connects you to it all. The macrocosm, the vast, unthinkable universe, and the microcosm, the gentle, quiet rising and falling of your own breath. In and out, the universe breathing. You are a small, precious feeling, thinking part of the cosmos, a way for the universe to wonder about itself. And in this moment you are safe, you are whole, you are at peace. There is nothing left to solve tonight, nothing left to do. Let the big questions fade. Let the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy drift away. Let the beginning of time and the end of time dissolve into the darkness. All that matters is this moment, this comfort, this quiet. You are connected to everything, and you are deeply, wonderfully at rest. It is time to let go, time to drift into the calm, into the quiet. It is time to sleep. Sleep now. Good night.